we heard that CFMEU organiser Michael Greenfield allegedly made sexually derogatory comments to a female worker on the Barangaroo site in Sydney.
Senator Carr.
Mr Greenfield allegedly said to the woman, who was to meet with Fair Work building inspectors, "I hope you brought your knee pads. You're going to be sucking off those dogs all day." In another case against the CFMEU, the federal court found that union official Mark O'Brien taunted a foreman, saying, "Hey Scabby, gay boy, gay boy, gay boy, Scabby." At the same time—
Pause the clock. Order, Minister. Senator Moore, a point of order.
It's a point of order.
Order on my right.
It's a point of order.
Just a moment, Senator
I can't
Moore.
believe—
Order. Order. On both sides. Senator Moore, a point of order.
Mr President. I know the minister is making direct quotes. I understand that, but I am deeply concerned about the language that was used both then and
on my right.
in this place.
Order.
In this
on
place.
my right. Just a moment, Senator Moore. I want to listen to the point of order in silence.
The language has been used in this place, and also yesterday. The extract from the minister's contribution yesterday, the same thing. I understand she's making a point. I understand she's doing quotation, but I am deeply concerned by the process that she's put in place in this place.
Order. Just a moment. I'm going to take advice from the clerk first, and I'll address further points of order.
Why do you accept money from these people? So it can happen.
Senator Brandis, I'll listen to further points on
the point of order, Mr. President. The question was about conduct, and the conduct included threats of physical violence and vulgar abuse, sexist abuse and homophobic abuse. That it is entirely appropriate in responding to that question for the minister to quote the very words that comprise the conduct which was the subject of the question. And I might point out, Mr. President, shamefully, notwithstanding the gravity of the sexism and homophobia that was evident, Senator Cameron and Senator Collins were laughing aloud during the answer.
That's not part of the point of order, but order.
You were laughing.
You were laughing. On both sides, if you want me to determine on a point of order, I need to listen to points of order. Senator Cameron, on the same point of order.
Point of order. The Attorney-General of all people was misleading yourself, misleading the Senate. He stated these were facts. These were allegations. Allegations. And allegations being treated in this place as fact is not correct, and we should not be using this place as a kangaroo court.
Thank you, Senator Cameron. Order. On the same point of order, Senator Corr.
On the same point of order, so Senator Moore expressed concerns about the language being used. We share that concern. It is highly inappropriate language. But in order to make the point, in exercising our freedom of speech in this Parliament, in order to make the point, to substantiate what a serious concern there is in relation to these matters, the minister needs to quote what actually happened, and the minister should be allowed to proceed with the answer.
Thank you. Order. Order. Thank you. I've listened to the points of order. Two comments I'll make. Firstly, just because you state something in Parliament doesn't shield you from the fact that the language could be inappropriate. That's the first point I make, and I took that advice from the clerk. The second thing I would like to do, I am concerned about the language that has been used, but I'm also concerned about the rights of individual senators to be able to express what they want to express in response to an answer. So what I'm going to ask, if I could have the indulgence of the Senate, for the remainder of today's question time, could I ask that language be contained to what we would consider to be appropriate language? I'm going to reflect on this and report back to the Senate tomorrow as to how the future would be in relation to language used in questions. Order. I've made my ruling. Senator Brandis.
Might I address you? given that you have foreshadowed that you are going to reflect upon the matter, will you be prepared to take submissions on the point, perhaps by writing, because this is a very important, if I may say so, a very important question, whether senators should have the right, as Senator Cormann has said, of freedom of speech to quote language, not language of their own, but language in direct speech to directly make the very point that they seek to make in their answer.
Thank you. Order. Thank you, Senator Brandish. Yes, I will take submissions from senators if they wish to conduct those submissions to me prior to tomorrow morning. Thank you. And so, Senator Cash, with those remarks, if I could ask you to exercise the concerns that I have at the moment. Order. And order on my left. On my left. You are asking me to do things on my left, and now you're not giving me the chance to actually implement what you're asking. And I expect a little bit more respect. Senator Cash, you've heard the comments. It's back to you. Senator Cash.
Thank you, Mr President. I would make the point that in the second case I was quoting from a decision of the federal court that found that union official Mark O'Brien did taunt a foreman, saying, "Hey, scabby gay boy, scabby." That was a finding of the federal court.
Order.
At the same time—
Point of order. Order, Senator Cash. I'm sorry, Senator Wong. I heard what Senator Cash— Order on my right. I heard what Senator Cash just said. She did not use language that I consider to be inappropriate on that occasion. Now, order. Senator Cash, you have the call.
Thank you, Mr President. And you know what I actually find quite disgusting is that these are incidents in this place, a finding of a federal court. It is disgusting. I think it's disgusting. And what's so horrifying is the reaction of those on the other side. Have a look at the questions that you asked this side today, and you didn't like our response. They are about bullying, what you say is bullying, and intimidation and harassment of kids in workplaces. And yet when we stand here on this side and we put that same behaviour back to those on the other side, you stand here or you sit there and you make fun and you defend your mates, and then Senator Wong will stand up and say, "Oh, but Doug Cameron, Senator Cameron, he's one of the biggest offenders of the CFMEU." For once, just listen. Just listen to what these people say and condemn it.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering the questions has expired.